This is the WGNS Action Line, talking with Rutherford County newsmakers about what matters most to you.
Your host, J. Paul Newman of the monthly District Attorney Show.
The viewpoints and opinions expressed on this broadcast are the viewpoints and opinions of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints and opinions of this show, its host, or the management of this station. You are listening to WGNS. We welcome everyone to the program. My name is J. Paul Newman. My co-hosts today are Rutherford County District Attorney General Jennings Jones and Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. We thank WGNS for providing the airtime. And we also thank our producer, Scott Walker. Most of all, we thank you for listening. In our Call to Conviction segment, we will profile one of the most egregious elder abuse cases to ever occur in Rutherford County. It is the murder of 81-year-old Lorraine Van Blarcom. Lorraine Van Blarcom was killed by her son, Roger Van Blarcom. That's today on Call to Conviction. And on today's broadcast, we have a very special guest. We will welcome Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney General Tammy Reddick. General Reddick will discuss a very important problem in our community. It is the problem of elder abuse. We will begin our broadcast after you listen to these important messages.
Do you want your money to work hard for you? Who doesn't? South Central Bank has 2 CD specials that will help your money grow. South Central Bank has a 5-month CD with an annual percentage yield of 4.15% or a 25-month CD with an annual percentage yield of 3.8%. 2 great ways to put your money to work. You choose the term that works best for you. $500 minimum balance to obtain the APY. Stop at our location at 1602 West Northfield Boulevard in Georgetown Park today and take advantage of our 2 great rates. South Central Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Thanks to Sharing Change, MTE members are making a difference just by rounding up their monthly bills to support local nonprofits. See how it works at sharingchange.org.
The Atlanta Braves play here. I'm Ben Ingram, and you're listening to Middle Tennessee's home of the Atlanta Braves. News Radio WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna.
From call to conviction. Time now for a look back at one of the more intriguing and important cases for this community. From the crime, the investigation, to the prosecution.
On October the 14th, 2009, the Murfreesboro Police Department received a call from a residence on Independence Way here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The caller's first words were, "I want to report a first-degree premeditated murder." The caller continues by saying that he has killed his mother, that he has beaten her to death with a baseball bat. Later in the call, the caller discovers his mother is still alive. He then tells the dispatcher that he needs to finish her off, that he has to finish what he has started. The caller was 45-year-old Roger Van Blarcom. His mother was 81-year-old Lorraine Van Blarcom. The Murfreesboro police race to the scene. They kick open the door. Inside, they find Roger Van Blarcom. And they also find his 81-year-old mother, Lorraine Van Blarcom, who has been severely beaten. But she is still alive. Lorraine Van Blarcom is rushed to the local hospital. She later dies. The autopsy report listed 34 distinct contusions, but that was not all. Lorraine Van Blarcom also suffered a fracture of the left knee, a fracture of the right forearm, a fracture of her left foot. Her right shoulder was dislocated. She had lacerations to her head and a subdural hemorrhage on her brain. Roger Van Blarcom was arrested and charged with the first-degree murder of his mother. At Roger Van Blarcom's preliminary hearing, Assistant District Attorney J. Paul Newman played the 911 tape, and you will hear that tape. The male voice you hear on the tape is Roger Van Blarcom. The female voice is the voice of the Murfreesboro Police dispatcher. Pay close attention to the first thing Roger Van Blarcom told the dispatcher. But before we play the call, a word of warning. Some listeners may find the call to be disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. At this time, we will play the tape of the call that Roger Van Blarcom made to the police on October the 14th, 2009.
911 emergency.
I need to report a first-degree premeditated murder.
Okay, what's the address?
602 Independence Way.
602 Independence Way.
Yes.
And what's going on there?
There's a crime for murder in progress.
Murder in progress?
602 Independence Way, 91 in progress.
Okay. What's going on there, sir? What's going on? Sir?
I killed my mother.
You killed your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your name, honey?
Name's Roger Van Blarcom.
How'd you do it?
With a baseball bat.
With a baseball bat? Do you have any other weapons in the house?
No, ma'am.
Okay. How do I spell your last name?
The V is in Victor. A-N. Capital B is in Bravo.
Okay.
L-A-R-C-O-M.
And your first name?
Roger. R-O-G-E-R.
R-O-G-E-R. Roger, I've got your number as 615-904-5582.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what happened this morning?
It's just accumulated over my entire lifetime, and it just built up, and it just.
Were you guys fighting?
No, I guess you could say that, yeah, but it's going on. It's really gone on my entire life, and it just, it's going on. And
so, were you guys just like fighting, like yelling and screaming this morning, or I mean?
I don't know.
What brought it on this morning?
I don't know if you could call it a mercy killing, or I don't know what you could call it. It's it might be considered a mercy killing. It might be considered murder. I really don't know what you'd consider it.
Okay. So, was she sleeping, or were you guys fighting? I mean, I'm trying to understand what happened.
I was down here, and I heard her. She woke up. I heard her walking around. Kind of hard to hear. It's kind of hard not to hear that. And it just, I had just been, she's going through a lot because my dad's going through a lot. He's in the nursing home. And
So she was walking around and woke you up?
I was already awake. I was halfway awake, and I heard her, and she was on the couch and she started crying about feeling sorry for herself again, and I'm about to think she's going through with my dad, and he's in a nursing home. And
Okay, and so she was crying, and did you go and talk to her?
I just wanted to put her out of her misery, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, are you okay? Do you have any? Are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere?
Oh, I'm not hurt anywhere.
How old was she?
She's 81.
Are you taking any kind of medications?
I take lithium.
Lithium? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you take anything else? Do you drink or anything?
Yeah, sometimes I do. And
where's your mom right now?
He's right here. He's still breathing, I think.
She's
right
still
here.
breathing?
Well, I think she's still breathing.
Okay. And she's on the couch?
No, she's down here on the, right here in front of the garage.
She's in front of the garage. Is she outside?
No, she's here in the house in front of the garage door. I'll raise the garage door. I don't know what I should do. Is it best just to go ahead and finish her off? I mean, she's suffering. I don't know, what to do. I guess it's best to go and finish her off, right?
No. How many times? No, don't do that. We got to help her.
No. It's got to be done. It's got to be done because
that's not
mercy.
True
It's
at
mercy.
All.
It's
How can you give mercy, honey? You can't do that. That's not your place.
That's the most merciful thing I can do to her.
No, we can help her.
No, I can't.
Hey, Roger, we can help her. It does not need to be done. Where are you?
It's got to be done.
Where are you?
I'm right here. I'm on my step. It's got to be done, okay?
Roger, it does not need to be done. I need you to leave her alone. We've got people on the way to help her.
Ma'am, it's got to be done. I'm sorry.
Roger, do not do anything to your mother.
Every person has got to finish what they start. You can't start something without finishing it.
That is not true. You know it.
It is true.
How do you? No, I need you to stay on the phone with me, Roger.
I've got to go.
Roger, stay on the phone with me.
After this tape was played at Roger Van Blarcom's preliminary hearing, Judge David Lowry sent Roger Van Blarcom's case to the Rutherford County Grand Jury. On the 6th day of July 2010, the Rutherford County Grand Jury indicted Roger Van Blarcom for the murder of his mother, 81-year-old Lorraine Van Blarcom. The case was assigned to the court of Judge Don Ash. On May the 9th, 2011, Roger Van Blarcom entered a plea of guilty to murdering his 81-year-old mother. He was sentenced to 30 years to serve at 100% in the Tennessee State Penitentiary. Our case today highlights the problem of elder abuse. In this case, a son who has abused his elderly mother in the past brutally beats her to death with a baseball bat. It is a crime that shocked the Murfreesboro community, but a crime that has happened before, a crime that has happened since, and a crime that may happen again. I call on everyone listening to this broadcast to help curb elder abuse. If you are a victim of this abuse, notify someone. If you know of this type of abuse, report it. If you are an abuser, stop it now and get whatever help you need. Our parents took care of us when we could not take care of ourselves. As our parents grow older, it is our responsibility to take care of them. We should honor our mother and father.
When we return, we will welcome Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney General Tammy Reddick, who will tell us more about elder abuse.
Hi, this is Dan with Music World and Drummer's Den. Our prices are as good or better than the box stores. I don't think you'll do better by shopping online than you would by coming in. If you're into podcasting, we have starter kits that have everything you need to get started. The interface for your computer, microphone, headphones, you'll be online in no time. If you need a PA, you need lights, we've got all for rent. Music World and Drummer's Den, 2762 South Church Street, right across from the golf course.
This is Peter Demas, and our family is inviting your family to come eat with us at Demas's restaurant. We're trying to give them a place where they can eat with their family that's not fast food. We want to create an atmosphere where we can sit down and just have a good old-fashioned family dinner. But unfortunately now, most people can't do it at home. So, two people are working, the kids' activities, and so what we're doing is we provide that and we make it affordable. Come eat with us at Demas's restaurant on Northwest Broad Street.
What's the law? This is the WGNS Action Line. Time now for an examination of the laws of Tennessee. This is not intended to be legal advice and is being presented solely for the informational benefit of our listening audience. You should always consult with an attorney whenever you need or rely on legal advice.
From the Rutherford County District Attorney's Office, the conversation continues this morning with a special focus on elder abuse.
With today's special feature, here is Rutherford County District Attorney Jennings Jones.
Today, our conversation is going to be elder abuse. to continue the conversation started with the examination of the murder of Mrs. Van Blarcom. We're going to move into financial abuse, another form of elder abuse. And part of this problem we are currently seeing are scams being run on the older segment of our population. To talk about this, we have two people who have specialized in this area. First, we have Miss Tammy Reddig. Tammy is an assistant district attorney in my office, has been an assistant district attorney for 21 years. Tammy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I would start with telling you that I am a native Tennessean. I was born and raised in Giles County. I went to college at Belmont University, and then I went to law school at Ohio Northern University. And it's funny now when I think about it, I didn't go to law school thinking that I would be an assistant DA. I actually wanted to be an estate planner. And when I graduated from law school, the first job available was at the district attorney's office in Franklin, and I applied for it through the newspaper, and I got the job. And I loved it so much there that I spent 17 years there before I came here to Murfreesboro. And I've been here in Murfreesboro as an assistant DA for 4 years now. And it's been a very good career for me.
Also with us is going to be Detective Dennis Ward. Dennis is a detective at the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department and has been in law enforcement for 19 years. Dennis, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I originally grew up in California and moved out here approximately 20 years ago. Funny what Tammy mentioned, I never thought I would be in law enforcement, but after getting here, an opportunity came up to apply, and here I am 19 years later. I started in the jail. I'm now in the Criminal Investigations Division. I did have some prior employment with the banking industry, and I feel like my supervisors thought that somehow that qualified me to investigate frauds. So I've been doing that for approximately 8 years now.
Tammy, when these types of crimes are first reported to law enforcement, what's the process that they get reported by, and then you take a look at them for prosecution?
A process, it's called VAPIT, and VAPIT is an acronym. It stands for Vulnerable Adult Protective Investigative Team. And what VAPIT is it's a group effort of law enforcement agencies, investigators from APS, which is Adult Protective Services, and it can be prosecutors for whatever particular judicial district that you're in. And that VAPIT model really came to the forefront in 2017 when the General Assembly placed statutes dealing with elder abuse directly into our criminal code. That really brought it to light for prosecutors. And it really placed a focus on vulnerable and elderly victims. Each judicial district is required to have a VAPIT meeting at least quarterly. Here in the 16th District, which includes Rutherford and Cannon counties, we have monthly meetings. Those meetings can include law enforcement from our county, the TBI, and those Adult Protective Service employees. Currently in Murfreesboro, we have 3 circuit criminal courts, and in each of those 3 courts, we have an assistant district attorney who exclusively handles VAPIT for that court. In those monthly meetings that we have, we review complaints and we talk about investigations. Now, those complaints can include something along the lines of what you heard earlier in the program. They can include physical abuse to a person. It can include neglect to a person. And it can include financial exploitation or financial abuse to a person. And it's that financial abuse that we're here to talk about today. We are seeing a great number of financial exploitation or financial abuse cases, and sometimes what we more commonly refer to as scams against our older population. And this is very alarming to us. Sometimes our VAPIT docket is comprised of one-fourth to a third of the cases being those of financial abuse. And a case gets to be reviewed in VAPIT because sometime prior to that, there's been a complaint generated. And when we review those cases, there's a number of things that can happen. We could take no action for a various number of reasons. We could decide to investigate further, or we could decide to present this case to a Rutherford County or Cannon County grand jury with the goal of obtaining a sealed indictment, and the perpetrator would then be arrested on that indictment. So I do want to share with you all this morning as well, how do you make a complaint such that it could be reviewed? There's a couple of different ways that you can do that. One is that you can just call your local law enforcement agency, whoever that may be in your area. You can also call the Adult Protective Services hotline, and I've got the number to share with you for that. It's 1-888-APS-TENN. And there's also a way for you to make a complaint online. And the way that you do that, I'm going to give you the web address right now. It's tn.gov/human services. And when you go to that tn.gov/human services, you'll see some tabs across the top. You'll want to select the tab that says Adults, and then you'll see a selection for Adult Protective Services. And that's a very broad overview of what VAPIT looks like in our county.
Dennis, we're talking about scams for the elderly, scams for folks who are not particularly familiar with technology. Tell us, what are we looking at? What are scams of this type?
Well, like my dad says, you used to have to walk up to somebody, maybe punch them and take their wallet to steal from them. Because of technology these days, this is all done over the phone. It's done over the internet. But a scam, the whole point of a scam is to steal your money. They just want to take your money. And again, technology, the ability to call you from a number that looks like it's your bank, send you an email that looks like it came from your bank or Amazon. They can provide fake documentation that looks real. Technology has given thieves the ability to use those tools. Again, the whole point is to steal your money.
Tammy, why do these scams work?
Well, General, it would probably surprise many of our listeners this morning to know that scams are largely successful in our community. And the reason that they are successful is because they invoke an emotional response from the person that's being scammed. That response can be one of fear. For example, if the victim is told that he or she or a loved one is going to be arrested or that they owe a bunch of money to someone else, that response can be one of genuine affection or love in what we commonly refer to as romance scams. And what we are also seeing is that scammers often build a sense of urgency to their victims by maintaining contact with their victims. And they build that sense of urgency to cause the victims to cut down on the time that they have to reflect on their situation. We have seen victims who were kept on the phone for hours by their scammers, and the victims sincerely believed that they could not end their phone call. We also see commonly scammers preying on victims' kindness and using it to their advantage. It's a high-pressure environment that's created by these scammers, and it is working for them. I would add, too, that scammers are often successful because victims are reluctant to report anything to law enforcement out of embarrassment. And I would say to anyone listening this morning, if that has happened to you, please do not be embarrassed to report or share with others what has happened to you. You should know you will not be the first person to report something like this. Indeed, there is nothing new under the sun.
Dennis, tell me, who is typically targeted by this type of scam?
anyone can be a target. Of course, today we're kind of focusing on some of us that are in the maybe older category. I think often we are targeted because we maybe aren't as familiar with technology. Maybe we have more money to take. We've saved up. Something I wanted to emphasize is that a lot of the information we're presenting today might sound scary. It might make you fearful, but that is, as Tammy said, one of the tools that scammers use is fear. So we don't want to be afraid. We're just here to give you some information to help you recognize these things as they come.
Tammy, what are you seeing? Who are you seeing targeted by these scams?
I would add to Detective Ward's comments this morning that many of our listeners may hear terms that they're not familiar with. For example, the word Zelle or Cash App or cryptocurrency. And you may think, well, I'm not familiar with what that is and I don't use those things, so this information doesn't apply to me. I'm not in harm's way for any of this. And what I am seeing is that the scammers will take the time to walk these victims through how to use these things. For example, I have seen that scammers will have victims drive around all over town looking for a place to make an exchange for cryptocurrency. And this is a person who's never been involved in that before. And the scammers will take time to walk the victim step by step through the process. We've also seen scammers taking victims to Target or to Walmart or anywhere else and buying thousands of dollars worth of gift cards to mail those gift cards to somewhere that the victims never heard of. It's that high pressure, emotion-filled environment that gets people pulled into it.
We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Dennis about who are the types of people that run these scams.
No middlemen, no mystery, just fresh big produce. Straight from the Tennessee dirt to your dinner table. Rutherford County Farmers Market, where our family feeds your family.
There's something fresh every week.
Open Friday 8 to noon, Tuesday 7 to noon or 2 to 7.
35 years. That's how long your family has trusted my family to care for your pets. Hi, this is Amanda from Animal City. Get your pets. New Year off to a great start with some fresh accessories and some new toys. Even though it's wintertime, our baby bird nursery has a lot of wonderful occupants. If a new feathered friend is in your future, come in and see us at Animal City. Stop by and get the best quality pet gear in town. Come see us at Animal City, 919 Northwest Broad Street in Murfreesboro.
Rise and shine. It's finally election time. When you cast your ballot, you're choosing who will protect your legal records and manage our courts with care. I'm Melissa Harrell, and serving as your circuit court clerk has been my highest honor. I've worked to make our office more accessible and transparent for every citizen in our community. Election Day is Tuesday, May the 5th. I'm Melissa Harrell, and I would appreciate your vote to continue as your circuit court clerk.
Paid for by friends to elect Melissa Harrell, Doug Bodery, Treasurer.
Hello, this is Emily Messier, and I am a resident at Adams Place Assisted Living. I didn't really consider it anyplace else. I knew this is where I wanted to come. So there are a variety of sizes of spaces available. So get your name on the list early.
This is Terry Deal. Call me at 615-904-9111. Adams Place on Memorial across from Walmart.
What's the law? Time now for an examination of the laws of Tennessee. This is not intended to be legal advice and is being presented solely for the informational benefit of our listening audience. You should always consult with an attorney whenever you need or rely on legal advice.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our discussion of elder abuse and financial abuse of the elderly. Dennis, let's talk about the type of people who typically run these scams.
Scammers, a lot of them are actually based overseas. There's even courses along the lines of transnational elder abuse that focus on this. It's an entire industry where they have these scam call centers set up and they run it like a business. They have scripts that they follow. They're very, very good at what they do. Governments and nations even sometimes sponsor fraud or extortion from other nations to fund various programs. Scammers will find and exploit loopholes in, say, a bank's process. They know, hey, you can deposit a check and withdraw the cash before they verify whether that's real. And so they'll publish that kind of information on the internet. Scammers often have mindsets where they're excusing their behavior, they're excusing their lies. They'll blame it on the victim. Hey, if you're dumb enough to fall for it, it's your loss. They'll say, well, the bank's going to take the hit anyway, or an insurance company's going to cover it. And they'll use these kind of excuses to justify their behavior. But at the heart of it, they're thieves. They will lie and say anything to get your money. You cannot trust what they're saying. They may have personal information about you, and you may think that that's means it's legitimate. It doesn't. Just always keep in mind, if they send you a document, it might appear to be real. They're easily faked. Right. You have to verify everything.
What are some red flags that you see that will allow someone to know that they're being scammed?
I want to start with saying this because I don't think it's been said yet, but the key to this, what we're trying to say, is you need to take a break and hang up the phone. If you get any kind of a call and somebody's asking you for money, if you get a text message that's asking you for money, no matter how legitimate it seems at first, stop and hang up the phone. Like Tammy said, they're going to try to get you in an urgency situation. So immediately a red flag is if anyone is contacting you for money for any reason. If there's an urgency attached to it, that's another huge red flag. I've got a text message here on my phone, and it says it's from the Department of Transportation, Tennessee Department of Transportation, the Citation Enforcement Division. They send these out in mass. And if you're not careful, you get scared and you react. You've got to stop, take a break, and think for a minute. Does this make any sense? If something sounds too good to be true, hey, you won the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. Okay, you probably did not. And did you even enter the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes? And if you did, they're not going to notify you by phone.
Dennis, one of the things that we frequently see with scams of this nature is that the caller or the person sending you the communication will have some of your information, and they'll attempt to use that to gain your confidence. Tell us a little bit about that. And Tammy, I want to hear from you as well on that, please.
Well, yeah, like I already said, just be very careful about somebody that seems to have information, because the information is out there.
I would add, I at home today still have a shredder in my house, but the days where you would take your mail or anything else and shred it so that another person could not get it out of the trash can, those days are really gone, because there is so much information about us that's available now. Just like Detective Ward has a text message on his phone this morning that appears to be from the state of Tennessee, and we are in the state of Tennessee. It almost gives it a cloak of credibility. Everyone should know this morning that your personal information is available online. It's available for other people to purchase. So you should not think just because somebody calls you and they have your full name and your date of birth that they have legitimate business with you. You need to be aware of what's going on and be aware of your circumstances and your situation.
Dennis, talk to us. What can you do if you receive a contact that you believe is a scam?
Again, please do not send any money. Please stop and think about it, okay? Do not send any money. Hang up the phone. Report it to the appropriate entity. So if it looks like it's from your bank, or you get a call, somebody says they're from your bank, again, call a published number, a known number, the number on the back of your credit card, a number on your statement. Better yet, go to the branch in person. Verify whoever seems to be reaching out to you, verify directly with them, not with the number they provided. Don't click any links. Verify it independently, what's going on. Feel free to delete texts, delete emails that you did not initiate the contact yourself. They came to you. Those are, again, suspicious. Avoid them.
And Dennis, when do you report this to law enforcement?
Okay, not every time you get a contact does it need to be reported. Case in point, that text I got this morning from the Tennessee Department of Transportation. But if you get engaged with a scammer and you do give them money, that does need to be reported. That should be reported. If an elder person in your life, a friend, a family member, someone you care about, has engaged and lost some money, that can be reported. If the bank or somebody that you have notified of an interaction with and they tell you, hey, in order for us to investigate further, we need a report, then yes, contact your local law enforcement and file a report.
Dennis and Tammy, I'd like you to both sort of address things that you should avoid doing in order to avoid being scammed.
I'll start with that, General. Something that I would like to say is that technology has really added to a scammer's ability. That's why it's so important to take a break and to think about what you are doing, and that will help you to avoid being scammed. Know how the places you do business with. Ask yourself, how do these places contact me normally? And then ask yourself, does it make sense to you that your bank branch would be texting you, asking you to take action such as clearing your account out and putting your money into another account? Ask yourself, does that make sense to you? If you're getting information from Amazon about your account, ask yourself whether you even have an Amazon account. Ask yourself, if you get contacted by somebody that appears to be from a government agency, such as a federal law enforcement agency, and they're texting you asking for money, ask yourself whether you've done anything for a federal law enforcement agency to be contacting you. And does it make sense to you that they would be asking you for money? Is that how law enforcement works? It's just that pausing, taking a break, thinking about what's happening, getting out of that high pressure situation.
Discuss restitution, because I know a lot of folks who are taken advantage of really are looking for restitution. Unfortunately, that can be hard to come by. Tammy, tell us a little bit about that.
It can be extremely hard to come by. That's why prevention is so important here. The prevention is more important than the cure. Most of the victims that I have encountered have this idea that their money is somewhere in an account and that it can just be recovered for them. And that's not the truth. The money is almost always gone. Actually, I've never seen a case where the money was still available. And then we would be left to rely upon the courts to get restitution. And it is nearly impossible to get anything that will seem just in that arena, and it is even worse if the perpetrator is not in the state of Tennessee or is outside the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be all the time that we have today. We appreciate your time and attention, and we hope that we have taught you something about scams and how to avoid them.
The monthly District Attorney Show, heard exclusively on News Radio, WGNS, the first Friday of each month.
If you missed any part of this program, it will be available shortly as a podcast on the WGNS website. As we end our program today, we thank WGNS for providing the airtime. And we thank our producer, Scott Walker. Most of all, we thank you for listening. We leave now by saying, a safe community is the responsibility of each and every one of us. For my two co-hosts, Rutherford County District Attorney General Jennings Jones and Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. And special thanks to Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney General Tammy Reddick.
The District Attorney's Office thanks you for listening to today's program. If you have any information regarding criminal activity in our community, please contact one of our law enforcement agencies. The information presented on today's show is solely for informational benefit and not intended to be legal advice. You should always consult an attorney whenever you need or rely on legal advice. Rutherford County's most trusted name in news. Talk Radio WGNS, Murfreesboro.